Hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm so sorry about the time change, and I didn't warn you yesterday. I was recording an episode of a podcast called Drunk Women Solving Crime. So, some spoilers. I've had a gin and tonic, so that's slurring. And yeah, it's at 10 o'clock. I'm really sorry. It will also be at 10 o'clock tomorrow because I'm doing a live broadcast or something. I can't remember what it is, but I'm doing a chat show on our website. So I'm really sorry about that. I'm glad you all found it though. Hello everyone. So yes, the stock image slightly gave it away. The voting was close, like really close. I mean, actually, in terms of what happened, everybody, the vast majority of people wanted cleaning up to occur. So that one in a landslide, absolutely no one wanted Jack to be angry with Emma for leaving her door open, which I thought was adorable. We're all clearly braving nice characters being nice to each other. And then in the ages, well, I'm not going to mention the age because I haven't really referenced it too much in the chapter, but I just wanted to know what you felt like. So I won't tell you about the age, but yes, cleaning up smashed it in terms of winner. Hi everybody, making it along for 10 o'clock. Yeah, sorry about the time change. So it will be 10 o'clock tomorrow, and what I'm trying to do is always set up the stream in the morning so that I mean, I know New Zealand, that must be difficult to check before you go to bed. But yeah, I'm trying to give you advance warning on the stream if I don't remember to tell you the night before. I also, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to take the weekends off. I feel like you're all nice people and no one will mind. But I think we will have Saturdays and Sundays off with this one just so that I don't have to have the writing pressure during the day. So we'll pick a cliffhanger for tomorrow night, and then I'll have an entire weekend to write Monday. So Monday's edition will probably be 3 times as long as it should be. Hi, Faye. Faye's made it into the chat. So yeah, 10 British summertime, which is GMT +1. So I don't know what that makes it wherever you guys are, but this is the slot we shall call the 10 o'clock slot, because I'm doing this in a very British colonial way and going, isn't it the same everywhere as it is for Britain? So yeah, I'm excited about the chapter. I've actually sort of wrote it and then rewrote it. I've had a bit more free time today, so I really kind of went back over it. Was like, do I like this? I don't know. So we'll get reading then. I figure, I mean, if anybody's not here, it's 2 hours later than it was going to be. So if you're still late, you're really late. So we'll have a go for chapter 4. How is it day 4 already? Okay, here we go. So at the end of chapter 3, Jax almost knocked Emma out by opening the door while she's bending over a doormat covered in dog coil. And now she's sitting on the floor of the hall looking up at him. For the second time that day, Emma began to worry that she was going to cry. Being relatively unused to crying, she assumed that the tight throat and prickling eyes meant that tears were incoming, but then the thought crossed her mind that she might perhaps be allergic to dogs, or dog shit. Could you be allergic to one and not the other? What breed is he? She said from the floor, looking up at Jack. Jack laughed, a really loud, full, tickled sort of laugh, and Emma felt her potential cry disappear back to wherever it came from, as her own mouth twisted up to match his. Why are you laughing? She asked him. He got his mirth burst under control and looked down at her, still smiling. You are lying on the floor, covered in dog mess, because my dog has broken into your home and crapped all over it, and yet you are attempting some small talk to be polite. It's just really funny. Emma felt a bit exposed all of a sudden. Had she done something wrong? She felt her face turning its glistening tomato colour and shuffled about to pull herself up without spreading the feces further around the hall. The smell really was unbearable. I really am sorry, Jack continued, and this time when he extended his hand down to help her up, he left it out and pulled her to her feet. He was tall, she realised as she came up to standing and was level with his shoulder. Let me help you clean up, he said. Show me your cleaning stuff and I'll get on it. It's the least I can do. Emma felt her flush spread down her neck and across her shoulders. I don't really have any cleaning stuff at the moment. I've only just moved in. I mean, I've got cleaning stuff. I am washing myself, just not for, dog shit all over the hall. I wasn't expecting this." At times like this, Emma wished she had more of a way with words. She wasn't so much heart on your sleeve as words all over your face. Anything and everything useful to a situation tended to just fall clumsily out of her mouth, and then she'd stand there feeling like a plank waiting for whoever she was talking to have to put the information in a useful format. "I've only just moved in," she repeated at him when he didn't say anything back. "Okay," he said, cautious but still friendly. Maybe I could pop upstairs and put Elliot away and grab a sponge and a bucket and some disinfectant, and you could maybe you want a shower?" Emma realized instantly that Jack was completely right. She did want a shower. More than anything else in the universe, she currently wanted to not fear that there was dog turd in every single one of her pores. "Yes," she said. "You do that. I'll go for a shower and I'll leave the door open. This door," she added instantly and far too loudly. "Not the door to the shower. Just the one so that you can get back in the flat, okay?" "I get it," he said, still smiling. "Come on, Elliot, you tiresome beast. I'll be back in a mo." He whistled for the dog, who came instantly and padded out of the flat, and they both headed upstairs to his apartment. Emma stood in the silent, stinking hall, wondering if she was going to wake up soon. Was she really in a flat, her flat, in Bath, where she now lived? Was she really covered in the droppings? Could you determine what poos could be called droppings and which couldn't? Of dog was not hers, waiting for the man upstairs to come down and scrub her hall with her. She stood a moment longer and didn't appear to be coming to back in London with a sleeping Theo beside her, so she assumed this must be her new reality and stirred herself to go and take a shower. 15 minutes later, Emma stepped out of the bathroom, fully dressed with a towel wrapped around her wet hair. The fresh scent of lemon detergent sprang at her, which, all things considered, was far better than what had been hanging about. Jack was on his hands and knees scrubbing at the wooden boards with a large brush. "Hi," said Emma. "I'm Emma, from earlier." They both noticed that she had said "from earlier" for relatively inexplicable reasons. She wondered if she could get away with blaming the beetroot colour now spreading outwards from her cheeks on the shower, and so said, "Oh, it was hot in there." Jack sat back on his heels and eyed her curiously, clearly wondering whether this woman was completely okay. That was also what Emma was wondering. "That's why I'm red," said Emma, really wishing she would stop talking. "Would you like a cup of tea?" He smiled. "Yes, thank you. A cup of tea would be lovely. I'm Jack, from earlier." She wasn't sure if he was trying to make her feel more comfortable or taking the piss, so she just nodded and carefully stepped around him to make her way to the kitchen. "I really am sorry about Elliot," said Jack, following her in. He's a rescue dog, and I've had him a year, so he's calming down, but he has a few behavioural things that I've not quite ironed out. Scampering off is one of them. He's never left the building, but I do sometimes find him in the foyer, so I suppose this time he just nosed your door open and came in here." "Lovely place for a crap," Emma said cheerfully, and wondered whether she'd always been this bad at conversation, or was this a new thing since she'd lost her mind and chased Theo across the country. She was certainly going to have to get better at speaking before she met up with him and tried to woo him. He was a salesman. He was used to being completely charming and beguiling. She would need to try and keep up. Emma turned round with a cup of tea for Jack and realised he had been speaking the whole time she was daydreaming about wowing Theo with a killer anecdote while they were out to dinner. Where would they go for dinner, she wondered? Nowhere fancy. He was sick of fancy places from all that time keeping up with the exhausting Elaine. So maybe now he could be himself with her. He'd prefer to go to Nando's or something. She hoped not Nando's, because Nando's was overpriced and the chicken was dry, but somewhere like that. Or her thoughts collided to a sudden stop as she realised that Jack had stopped talking and was looking at her. "Sorry," she said automatically. I "Do not say you weren't listening," said her thoughts sternly. "Think of something like an adult." "You weren't listening?" said Jack mildly. Emma felt her skin heating yet again. "Sorry," she said just again. "I was distracted. It's been a weird day, a weird week. Could you repeat what you said?" Jack held his hot mug of tea and eyed Emma curiously. She felt very watched, very seen. Emma wasn't used to being noticed or scrutinised. She was a background person. If there was a joke happening, Emma was laughing at it, not telling it. Jack made her feel on the spot. Well, While she was a little uncomfortable, she felt a definite excitement about the fact that he was paying attention to her. "I just asked what brought you to Bath," he said to her, and she froze. The cup of tea she was holding slipped out of her hand and smashed all over the kitchen floor, spraying him, her, the walls, and the cabinets with scalding tea. Jack leapt back, splashing his own tea over his hands, and then hastily depositing the mug to safety on the worktop. "Are you all right?" he asked, looking bewildered at her. She stood, shell-shocked, in a puddle of tea and embarrassment. "I moved to Bath for work," she shouted at him. He took a step back, and if she could have evaporated on the spot, she would have done it just to escape from the skin-tinglingly humiliating situation she was in. Jack looked as though he wanted to run away, but was too gentlemanly to do so. "Where do you work?" he asked, as if carrying on a conversation with a woman covered in tea was perfectly normal. Emma tried to think quickly, but all she was really thinking were the words "quick, think quickly." "You can't tell him you work at the Christmas shop," she told herself. "Who ever heard of an emergency transfer of Christmas retail staff?" "I work at the Christmas shop," she said, staring at him. Well, that went well, thought her thoughts. "Right," he said amiably. And when it became very clear she was not going to pick up the bits of broken mug from around her feet, he bent down to do it for her. She wondered how much else of her flat he was going to have cleaned before the end of the evening. "When I say I moved here for work, I mean, there were no jobs in London, or none that I wanted. Obviously, there are jobs that you could be the Queen and stuff. Not that that's a job. It's a calling, isn't it? But anyway, well, that calling is taken. Oh, for fuck's sake. I just mean, I wanted to live here, so I moved here, and it's all just really normal and basic. Cool." Jack nodded warily. He was beginning to behave like someone who was taking care of a spooked horse. Emma wondered if she could claim concussion and blame him for the verbal diarrhea spraying out of her mouth. "Well," Jack made a hearty attempt to laugh to move them on. "Now we have 2 floors to clean. Hey, you do this one and I'll go and finish up in the hall." Emma nodded silently, too afraid of what else she might say to try and open her mouth. He headed back out into the hall and carried on scrubbing. Emma found a cloth from under the sink and cleaned up the tea as best she could before following Jack into the hall and making a vague attempt to help him clean up. She soon realised, though, that trying to get dog mess out of a Hessian doormat was like trying to wash dog mess out of a Hessian doormat. So she gave up and took the mat down to the street bin outside. She took a minute to stand out there and catch her breath. When Emma returned to the flat, Jack was stood outside her door holding the bucket and brush. "All done," he said cheerfully. "And again, I'm just so sorry." "Not a problem," said Emma, "although tell Elliot that I don't have enough shoes for him to make a habit of this." There! That was a good comeback, wasn't it? That was how human beings made other human beings like them. Emma felt the most normal she'd felt since she'd had that disastrous bath a few nights ago. "I'll make sure I tell him," said Jack, turning to go. He climbed a few steps back up to his flat and then turned. "Emma?" She looked up, annoyed that he was not letting the conversation end on the only decent thing she'd said in a fortnight. "Yeah? Welcome to the building." And that is the end of chapter 4. How are you guys all doing? Lots of chat. Emma is bonkers. Yes, she is. She's really fun, though. I'm really enjoying writing her. Bless her. She's not having a good time, is she? Oh, Lisa, I hope you've never trodden poo all the way through your flat. Kevin's enjoying Emma's inner monologue. Right, so that's the development. They have cleaned the kitchen and the hall. So don't forget to like the video. Apparently, more likes and chat in the comments on the video helps other people find it. So, and we'd like to build the club. So your question for the end of chapter 4 is, where does Emma go in the next chapter? Where does Emma go in chapter 5? Does she go to a fair, a police station, a swimming pool, or to hospital? Those are your 4 options. So, your jobs. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the YouTube page. Please tweet and Facebook and all that nonsense. If you feel like donating to the coffee account, you absolutely can, but don't worry about those. And then the voting. Question: where does Emma go in the next chapter? 1, a fair. 2, a police station. 3, a swimming pool. Or 4, to a hospital. Those are your choices. So enjoy yourselves and have a lovely evening. And we'll be back for Friday's edition tomorrow. Richard's having a good time. Edward is enjoying the multiple floor cleaning, and Mark Cox, hello. Great chapter, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So get voting. Thanks for coming again, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. It will be 10 o'clock British summertime tomorrow. See you then. Bye.